Hi, this is Pranav Goa Thakurta from Edu TV. Today we have Madam Singh with us, Madam Alka Singh. She's the principal of Bluebells Gurugram. She has headed many best of the schools in the country, and today we have invited her to know how critical is leadership during pandemic and how it will be post pandemic. So, ma'am, we would like to know your advice how difficult it was and how what were the challenges and what were the benefits of pandemic also. Yes, ma'am, over to you.
Thank you so much. And this is one topic I think each leader would love to talk about. Because otherwise, if you look at it, when we talk about leadership, we say leadership is about taking action, it is about influencing and empowering others. And in this particular period, when we talk about this unprecedented school year, generally that's how we look at it. The challenges are immense, were and are immense. But I would say opportunities are much more. I look at it that way. And this is one time, if you look at it, there's no change in the leadership. Technically, the concept of leadership, there's not much of change. Although, when we talk about the conditions under which we are working as leaders, have surely changed. And the first thing, I'll just talk about myself. The first thing, the moment we said that, yes, we need to go online. So there were certain rules what I had put for myself, looking at the situation. So first thing I said, there is no right way of going about it. Do we go with Teams? Do we go with Zoom? So I said, there's no right way. Whatever works for us. So for us, we were basically using Zoom. So that is one thing. Then as whatever I planned, it was always a consensus what I'd taken from the students, from the parents, from the teachers, because we need to choose something and then only we can actually do well out there. Because something which is forced upon us wouldn't have worked. Then another thing, what I did was, because I also take one of the classes, so I, like with the term empathize what we say. So I put myself in their shoes, a teacher's shoes, and said, okay, what is the kind of workload they can manage? Otherwise, if you look at the school, it's from 8 to 2:10 and the teachers then go home. With us going online, there was no time frame over there. So I said, let me assign something which is manageable. Because at the time, there was another thing which was more important. That was the health. It was, I need to have the academic transition effective, but simultaneously the health of the students, health of my staff, which was prime to me. So the workload was something which I really worked on. And another thing is, like, this is another stakeholder, important stakeholder, the parents. So constantly, Pranavji, I was like in touch with the parents, having Zoom sessions, having webinars, such that we don't push too much of responsibility on the parents. They were also struggling. They're working from home, some of them were laid off. So that was again one thing, but
Correct.
as an important stakeholder, I said, not pass on everything on the parents, that you need to do. So that's where we try to manage the workload for the teachers, for the parents. And another thing is, all of a sudden it appeared that it's only the IT team, the computer teachers, who would be doing maximum. So I tried to, have conversations with my team, and I told them that no, it's like not them, all of us together. I can't put so much. So the equity was something what I tried to work on, actually. And another thing is, while deciding, how much, what to do. So one more thing, we didn't try to compromise on the quality. So that's one more thing. As a leader, you say, let's put on 10 worksheets. I said, no, let's do less, but the quality has to be maintained.
Great.
So that was again one thing when we talk about, as a leader, whenever you're looking at any aspect. So there was one more thing is that I felt that 360-degree perspective was important. Generally, how it appears for me, like as a leader, I say, okay, this is what I've decided, this I think is best. I didn't do that. I said, like all of us together, let's look at the feasibility of let's say Zoom sessions for 6 hours. There were schools, I'm not naming any, but who did that? I said, no, let's look at the feasibility. Let us take a 360-degree perspective of the student, the staff, the parent at home, and then we took whatever decisions we had to take related to the education, transaction, any of the events, like how we would go about it. Should it be a hybrid mode? So these are many things, all these challenges. And honestly speaking, like I prefer that this leadership, there's nothing like a hierarchy. We are all working, it's a horizontal leadership completely. And capturing honest feedback from parents, from the staff is very critical for me. So I was constantly floating forms, having communication, having Zoom sessions with the parents, taking their feedback. And that was one time, whatever decision related to academic transaction, let's say PTMs, let's say the assessment, nowhere it was one-way decision. And another thing I would say, the challenge which I think all the principals must have faced is we had to be super proactive. Like there was nothing like stopping from morning till late night. We were there, because there was certain emergency solutions what we had to give. Today, there were 2 classes which struggled. So that was one thing I think we were before this also pandemic and obviously after later also. But this digital leadership actually transformed many things, like proactiveness in a very different manner. We were not just reacting, we were planning proactively and then taking action. So this is one part when we talk about the leadership part. Another, I would say that you need to be. These were times when I think every single person had some story out there. A family member is not there, or there were struggles everyone was facing. So personally, I feel that in this pandemic, what this pandemic taught us as leaders to be great listeners. It is just listen, be there for your team, for your students. Whenever, whatever they want to share, just be there. Otherwise, I think physically, there were times when we would not be that great listeners as what we are now. And since I think all of us, we are there together in it, there is nothing like, this person is going to suffer more or less, all of us together. So we had to come out together. That I personally feel is like to be a great listener or be empathetic, be compassionate was much more important than giving instructions and planning strategically, which is a transformation. Openly, I would say, which has come about in me too, majorly. Like more compassion, more empathy, more listening, not just hearing, listening, putting yourself in the other person's shoes and listening. So that is another change I would talk about. Then is, I would say, this was one time where communication became very different. Physically, we would have meetings, and in our conference halls, there's a communication which would go about. The change out here was little different if you look at it. If in a meeting, like even now when I'm talking, if I'm going to overload you with information, end of this complete session, it's going to lead to fatigue, disengagement with the conversation. So we have to be super cautious with what am I communicating, or insufficient information.